So first up, in terms of dress watches that I've been considering, I do want to have a Hamilton in my collection, mainly because I appreciate the history that it has, specifically with the military, and in general, the heyday of American watchmaking. Don't scoff at that, I mean, for those of you that are thinking that, but it happened during the railroad period era. The railway system, obviously accuracy was important, and Hamilton, before it belonged to the Swatch Group and before it was even called Hamilton, played a big role in that. For that reason, I do want to have one of this brand, and this is the first one that I've been looking at, the Navy Pioneer Silver Dial. I really love the marine chronometer inspiration behind this. The pictures really don't do it justice. I mean, it's a beautiful piece. This particular one has the 2895 movement, and really the primary differences between that one and, you know, probably the most common ETA movement, the 2824, is that the 2895 is slightly thinner height wise. It has 27 joules versus the 25 joules of the 2824, but they both have 28,800 beats per hour, so very similar in that regard. But I would like to have something a little outside just the regular ETA 2824 that make up a majority of what I've got right now. It's 40 mil, which is a size that I feel pretty comfortable with, and I love the look of it. It's under 1,000, which is where I'd like to stay. I don't want to go too crazy on a dress piece, just something that I really do enjoy, and this ticks a lot of boxes for me. Next dress piece we've got up in the running here is also a Hamilton, and it's the Jazzmaster Traveler GMT2. I love the look of this piece. I love the band that this comes on, but it does have ETA's GMT second time zone movement, which they don't actually have listed on here. I believe is the 2893 that comes on this one. That is a 21 joule movement, and obviously the primary difference between that and the others is the 24-hour and second time zone function. Still 28,800 beats per hour, but it's 21 joules versus the 25 in the 2824 and the 27 that's in the 2895. This is slightly bigger at 42 millimeters. I do have a couple pieces that hit that size now that I feel comfortable with, so I don't think that this one will be an issue. And it's just a little bit different. I do like that it has the GMT function, so that second time zone capability is there. But overall, I do just really like the look of this one. So in terms of dress pieces that I want to add, these are mainly the two that I'd be looking to get in the near future. I've been emailing back and forth with a lot of you guys, really enjoying the conversations we've been having, and KDP Ross in particular has a lot of vintage pieces in his collection, and I love that, and it got me thinking in terms of getting pieces that were produced specifically in years that are significant to me for one reason or another. The next ones that I've been looking at, which I think if any of you have watched the Grail video, I referenced wanting also the Rolex Yachtmaster. Since then, I have also been looking at the GMT Master 2 and the Submariner. I know, Submariner. And the Submariner is the least likely of the three. I think the front runner is the GMT Master 2, followed very closely by the Yachtmaster. But the ones that I've been looking at for those are getting a 2004. The reason I've been looking at a 2004 is because the Rolex might end up being my favorite piece, my most prized possession when I get it. So I was thinking about, what that correlates to in my life. And 2004 is just the year that my oldest son was born. So it's kind of ironic in that, children suck so many finances out of you and are, I guess indirectly one of the reasons why we can't get everything that we want right away. So, it would be ironic to buy my most expensive timepiece in the year that he was born. But, there's some significance there, obviously. My family mean more to me than anything else. So I've been looking at getting the Yachtmaster, the GMT Master 2 from, circa 2004. This one I actually quite like, the black and red bezel on this GMT Master 2, so that might end up being the route that I go if the Master 2 ends up beating out the Yacht Master in the end. Some of you might be thinking, oh, we'll just get them both. And, I'm not ruling that out, but one of them must be purchased first, right? So, I'm not entirely sure which one it'll be. I do quite like the look of this one. There's just something quite stunning about it. Let's take a look at the other one, the Yacht Master here. I love the platinum dial. I love the look of this piece. I love everything about this Yacht Master. But there's just something with the GMT Master 2 that's kind of been tugging me in that direction lately. So I'm not sure which one it'll be. Here's a 2004 Submariner that I found. It's classic. It's classic. And they're beautiful pieces. So, all right. So last but certainly not least, what's it gonna be? It is going to be the Seamaster Professional 300-meter diver, and I've been looking at the coaxial chronograph. Two main reasons why I've really been looking at this one, and have kind of decided that this is going to be essentially what I get next. First, I really am missing a substantial chronograph in the collection, and I do love chronographs. But the other reason that I've really been looking at this one is because it does seem appropriate that the next step be, a step up from your standard ETA movements. And what I really love about this particular piece, aside from the fact that it is absolutely stunning, and this is actually the 41.5 millimeter one. The 44 mil I just think would be, it would be massive. I think it would be too big. I'll go try them on as I get closer to the end of the year to kind of be sure. But this is definitely the one that I'm leaning towards, the 41.5 mil one. I think this is perfect as the next piece because it's essentially the perfect hybrid. So this has the base Valjoux 7750 series variant. And what I love about it is that it does have the coaxial escapement and the silicone balance spring. So it is very highly modified, and it has that signature coaxial. So for me, I really think that this is a perfect next step horologically and in the collection that really represents the ultimate hybrid, where it's not, technically completely an in-house movement, but it's modified to an extent that is more than your average modification of an ETA movement, like just putting a different rotor on it, just a rhodium plated rotor or anything like that. The modifications done to this movement are more significant than that, obviously. So I do think this is going to be a really good next step. I'm really very, very excited. I do want to get one that has a ceramic bezel, just because I really do like the look of it, and I want it to be a little bit more scratch resistant than the steel, or than having a stainless steel bezel. So that is something I would be looking at to get. But this is what will hopefully be the next piece to fill in one of those empty slots in the watch box. So I do want to get a dress watch. I might end up waiting to get that around Christmas time also, just so I have more than one watch to open, or we'll see how much money I end up saving up. But if you guys have any suggestions for me on other dress watches, they don't have to be Hamilton, but again, like I said, I love the history of Hamilton, so I'd like to have one of them. I know you'll notice all these have a date window, and I know that's not particularly popular with a lot of people, but it's something that I like. I don't need to have, obviously, right? But for me, when I'm wearing a piece that doesn't have it, I find myself left wanting. For my regular use in the day at work, I find that I always need to know what the date is for everything that I'm doing. Everything gets logged with the date in the title. Being able to verify the date at a flick of the wrist is really nice for me. So I feel that if I don't have one with a date, it just won't get worn, which would ultimately defeat the purpose, or it won't get worn as often as I know I would if it did have the date. So I'm definitely open to suggestions. I don't want to spend more than $1,000 on a dress watch. I'd prefer it be a white or silver dial. I'd like it to have a date window. It doesn't have to, but it's just my preference. It's my personal preference that it have a date window. That's pretty much my criteria. I don't want to spend more than $1,000 on a dress piece because I'm so focused on, you know, the Seamaster and the Rolex, and then ultimately the gray side of the moon. So those are kind of where I'd like to be putting a majority of my funds that I save, and I don't want to rotate it towards a dress piece now. That might change in the future, but it's just not what I'm looking to do right now. So if you guys have any thoughts, obviously, please leave them in the comment section below, or you can always shoot me an email. All right, I think that's about it. CG out.